Hey guys, what's going on? Banana156 here with another video, and yeah, in this video I want to talk about War for Cybertron and specifically Optimus Prime's story or arc in that game, because that game is absolutely wonderful. I cannot rave about War for Cybertron enough. It's just absolutely phenomenal. But I think honestly my favorite part of that game is the journey of Optimus in filling in that role as leader of the Autobots and what that means for him as a character. So, well, before we start talking about Optimus, first, yes, there's FIFA in the background, and yes, I am terrible at FIFA. I'm not really good at games, and I know that's kind of funny because I tried to make this a gaming channel where I was supposed to be good at games before. But no, I'm not very good at FIFA, so you can comment all you want about my terribleness at FIFA, but yeah. So, now that we talked about me being bad at video games, let's talk about Optimus and his arc in War for Cybertron. Well, first we have to understand exactly where he's coming from entering the game. Well, before War for Cybertron, there are some prequel comics and stuff that you can read if you want to fully understand Optimus' story, but essentially he was offered the title of Prime, but he rejected it because he felt he wasn't worthy enough, and that's basically it. He was just an incredibly humble guy who just wanted to be a good soldier for the Autobots and do his part in helping them win the war. And when we look at the beginning of War for Cybertron, or at least the beginning of the Autobot campaign, we can see that's exactly what Optimus Prime is. He's just a good Autobot soldier doing everything that he can to help them win the war. And from what I understand, I do believe he became second in command because he was just that good at being a soldier. But he never did become first in command, and he never did accept his title as Prime. Because yes, he was given his title as Prime, but he still went by Optimus, and we can see that in the character selection for each level. Now, if you're not familiar with Transformers War for Cybertron, before each level you can select between 3 characters. So like the first Autobot level, you can select between Optimus, Ratchet, or Bumblebee. And when you can select Optimus, it just says his name is Optimus, not Optimus Prime. And we'll see that changes to Optimus Prime later on in the game because he is forced to take that role as a leader within the Autobots. So, yeah, when we see Optimus at the beginning of the game, we see that he's just a very humble, good soldier for the Autobots, doing what he can to help them win the war. But in that first mission, we find out that Zeta Prime is dead. Now, Zeta Prime was the current leader of the Autobots at the beginning of the game, but unfortunately, it seems that he was killed. So, where does that leave Optimus? Well, he's the second in command of the Autobots, and that almost forces him into a leadership role, which he does end up taking, and that's what the first mission is kind of all about. You're running around defending Iacon from the Decepticon invasion, playing as Optimus, Bumblebee, or Ratchet, and you get to see Optimus begin to fill in those shoes as the leader of the Autobots. And we can see that this was a great move for the character of Optimus. We can see that he begins as this humble, good soldier for the Autobots, and we see that he's forced into this leadership role that he's been kind of running away from for the majority of his life since he rejected his title as Prime. But now he's forced into it, he has to do it, and we see that he does a damn good job at it too, leading the Autobots through this whole long campaign where we see them defend Iacon and go into a Decepticon prison, make a journey to the core of Cybertron, and defeat the ginormous Decepticon space station, which is known as Trypticon. We can see that Optimus goes through this huge, big, long journey where he has to learn to be a leader, and he does a good job of it. But why is this such a great story? Well, it's a great story because it shows exactly what a good leader is supposed to be. Someone who is humble, but steps up when they need to, and isn't afraid to take charge, but is reluctant to if the situation doesn't call for it, and doesn't use their power for negative things, and also doesn't get drunk off their power. So yeah, so we can see that he is forced to step up, and we can see throughout the entire campaign he does a phenomenal job at that. But the main point of this is it shows just how good of a leader Optimus is, and to truly understand how good of a leader Optimus Prime is, we have to look at his counterpart, Zeta Prime. Now, as I said before, Zeta was the leader of the Autobots before Optimus, and we can see that he really wasn't that good of a leader at all. We can see in the Decepticon campaign, when you have the boss fight with Zeta Prime when you're playing as Megatron and some others, I don't quite remember who, we can see that Zeta Prime keeps talking about how powerful he is, how he's unkillable, how he's immortal, how he's all powerful in this room and you can't do anything to defeat him. And eventually you do defeat him and bring him to prison, and he eventually dies there. But we can see that Zeta Prime emphasizes the amount of power that he has. And we can see that, honestly, with that mindset, he's not that very good of a leader, and that's part of the reason why the Autobots were struggling so immensely at the beginning of the campaign. And we can see that in contrast to Optimus, Zeta is nearly the complete opposite. We can see that Zeta focuses on his power and how much he can do and how he can control everything and win all these battles, while Optimus is incredibly humble, doesn't care how much power he has, just does every single little thing that he can to help the Autobot cause win and help Cybertron survive this war. Now, unfortunately, building off that, Optimus isn't able to save Cybertron. As we can see in the mission Journey to the core of Cybertron is dying and needs to go into stasis for quite some time to be able to repair itself. And this means Optimus was too late. Optimus couldn't save Cybertron, his one true goal. But there is one thing that he can do, and that is take on the matrix of leadership. And like any good leader, and like how he stepped up and took command at the beginning of the campaign, we can see that Optimus takes this responsibility without hesitation and is more than capable of stepping up to the plate of having this matrix of leadership inside his chest. And we can also see that later on in the campaign, not later on from the matrix of leadership, but later on from the beginning, that Optimus is re-offered that title of Prime after Zeta is confirmed to be dead. And this time, Optimus takes this title of Prime and he wears it as a badge of honor, because that is what is needed of him. With Zeta Prime dead and the Autobots lacking leadership, the Autobots needed someone to step up. And Optimus saw that and realized that it was his time to truly take the title of Prime and lead the Autobots to hopefully a victory. Now, he did take the title of Prime and he did take on the matrix of leadership, and we can see that he did in fact lead the Autobots to at least an exodus from Cybertron, and he got the Autobots to be somewhat safe, and he did a very good job leading them through that war for Cybertron. So when we look at Optimus from War for Cybertron, we can see at the beginning of this game, he's kind of a humble soldier type of guy who never really expressed a desire for extreme leadership. And we can see that even earlier on, he was a librarian and focused more on Cybertron's history than being a warrior, but as time progressed, he was forced more and more into that warrior role. But he's never been focused on the amount of power he possesses, and he's never had a desire for power. And that is exactly why he is such an incredible hero and an incredible leader, because he's not focused on the power. He's not focused on the fame or the glory. He is focused on being a leader and doing what's best for the Autobots. And we can see that throughout the campaign of War for Cybertron, and we can also see that later on in the sequel game, Fall of Cybertron, which I will do a video on probably on Friday. I assume so, as long as nothing goes wrong. So yeah, we can see that Optimus goes from this humble librarian to a humble Autobot soldier who eventually becomes second in command because he does such a good job of being a soldier. And then eventually that soldier, who was a librarian, is forced into a leadership role for the Autobots and has to take on the title of Prime and take on the matrix of leadership. And despite all of these incredible responsibilities, he doesn't waver once, and he chooses to take on the task of leading the Autobots in this great war for their planet, and he does an absolutely incredible job. And if you look at almost any Transformers media, you can see that Optimus is just the fundamental leader. He's incredibly humble and does whatever he can for his Autobot compatriots, and that's what makes him such a good character and such a good character to learn from. As I'm sure in our everyday life, there are times where all of us need to step up in little ways, not necessarily lead an army of Transformers in a war for a planet, But there's always little times where we can step up, where we can stand up for someone or take on a leadership role in a club or a business or any kind of sense like that. And we can see that Optimus is a great personification of what you should do if you do need to step up and how you should handle it. And how you should handle it is you should stay humble and not desire power, but just desire what's best for your fellow people and the people you are leading and stepping up and taking charge for. So when we look back at this game, first of all, it's an incredible game. You guys should all play it. I know it's 13 years old and it's kind of hard to get to because of, I think, licensing issues. I don't know. I just know you can't really buy it right now. But I know it's an incredible game, and it is. There's nothing more. It's just incredible. The combat is great. The story is great. Even the cinematics is great. The cinematics aren't as great as Fall of Cybertron, but the cinematics are still great. It's just a fantastic game. I recommend that you all play it. It's honestly a better game than most AAA or most AA games today. Same with Fall of Cybertron. If you can get your hand on either of them, play them. They are phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. But yeah, one of the most incredible parts of War for Cybertron is Optimus' story of going from a humble soldier to an Autobot legend, a Prime, and the leader. So yeah, it's just an incredible game, incredible story. Everything about it is incredible. And yeah, we can learn a lot from it for our own lives and how we should handle roles of leadership. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. It was kind of a different video. I haven't talked about any games like this before or stories in games, but it is kind of similar to the Puss in Boots video. So I hope you guys enjoy this style of content. I know it's very different than what I did in the past, but this is the type of content that I want to make in the future, and I do think I'm going to continue making it. And yeah, there should be a video about Transformers Fall of Cybertron, not necessarily about a specific character, but just about the great story of a game and how, yeah, I'm not going to go into it yet because it will be interesting when it comes out. But yeah, I will be making that video, and it will probably come out Friday. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. It was really fun to make. I loved playing Transformers War for Cybertron again. I haven't played it in several years, but yeah, it's phenomenal. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this video, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content, because I truly am having the most fun I've ever had making content right now, making content that I'm just doing things that I enjoy, and it's really, really fun, and I'm just having a great time with it. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz if you feel like it. I don't really care. Have fun with it. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, and yeah, have a good day.